What's up, my weirdo panic sellers? What's going on, guys? What's up? What's up? Let's have a look around the market before we get started. All right, so look at farms looking pretty good today. 33 bucks, not bad. Freaking Supra at 2088. Man, that is a buy right there, man. Holy smokes. Yeah. All right, guys. So listen, what's going on? How about that Binance trying to crash everybody's portfolios, huh? How about that? Um, yeah, I know that's what's top of everybody's mind today. I made a video about it, and I was talking a little bit earlier on an X Spaces over on X, obviously, about it a little bit. Now, here's the thing, guys. I'm gonna give Binance benefit of the doubt here, and I'm gonna say that I think that Binance probably thought this was a good idea on paper, but with the backlash they seem to be receiving online about it, I'm going to go ahead and give them benefit of the doubt that they're going to change their mind and get rid of this option. Because listen, the world's largest stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange, right? You don't see them posting online giving people, stock investors, the opportunity to vote on delisting stocks. Why don't you see that? Why don't you see the New York Stock Exchange doing that? I'll tell you why. Because the SEC would be up their butts quick as a hiccup, right? Because that is blatant market manipulation, right? So I don't think that Binance fully thought this through. So I'm going to go ahead and give them benefit of the doubt that they're going to change their mind and they're going to back off of this. I think that would be the smartest idea, because if they don't, I would honestly say that if they go through with this and cryptos, altcoins start getting delisted, and you start to see this mob rule mentality where people think it's funny to get projects delisted to harm other people, I fully support class action lawsuits being filed against Binance for this reckless endangerment of people's finances, right? This was the worst decision in finance I think I've ever seen in my life. The crypto space, the people who invest in crypto, are some of the most immature, uneducated people you can find. And that's not, I'm not speaking derogatorily against you guys or anybody else. It's just a fact. The division, the divisiveness that happens in crypto, right? You don't see that in stock markets. You don't see people who invest in Amazon saying, oh, Tesla stock, is good. You don't see that. You don't see them saying, don't buy Tesla stock, buy Amazon, and being maxis. You don't see that in the stock market. Now, when I first heard about the accredited investor program, I thought to myself, that sounds like a scam, right? If you don't know what the accredited investor program is, it's essentially a program that's put in place in the stock market that prevents low-income investors in investing in pre-IPO companies, which is companies before they go public, right? And the reasoning behind that, they say basically, you already have to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire to be able to invest in early projects, early companies, let's put it that way, okay, in the stock market. And I always thought that was a scam. I always thought to myself, well, they're just trying to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. But the reasoning behind it was that the average retail investor is not mature enough to invest in pre-IPO companies, right? And I always thought that was a bad way of thinking until I started running this channel and getting into crypto. And I can tell you, the average retail crypto investor is far too immature to have opportunities to get in early on companies. We see it every day with the divisiveness in crypto, right? You see it every day. The stupid, fudding of projects and, people doing negative things towards projects, posting and things just because they think it's funny, like a complete lack of maturity, and it has no place in the investment world at the end of the day. So for Binance to provide this opportunity for those people to negatively affect the finances of other people, what a terrible idea this is. Terrible idea. With great power comes great responsibility. And the average retail crypto investor cannot handle that level of responsibility. Let's be honest here, right? All right, let's get into the chat, see what everybody's talking about. William, what's up, my dude? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Parallel Life in the house. What's going on? Atlanta Braves fan, what's going on, man? Hey, Rob, should we go ahead and sell our Jasmine? I wouldn't recommend that. No. You definitely did not hear me say that. Quentin, what's up, man? In the house, what's good? Paul, good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man, every day. Jasmine crystal ball time. Let's go. Jared, too bad we can't vote to delist Binance as an exchange, or at least we have a say in how they regulate themselves. Well, here's the thing. With the new friendly administration coming in, and I know that Binance is not necessarily a United States company. However, if they want to continue having access to one of the largest economies in the world in investors, they will have to start abiding by the laws of the United States and the SEC, the rules the SEC puts in place. And I'll tell you right now, the SEC is not going to continue to tolerate this type of behavior out of any exchange, right? So, hope you're having a good Friday, Rob. At least a better one with all the Binance trouble going on. Yeah, hey, it's a good start to the day, guys. Listen, it's Open Mic Fridays on the Patreon, guys, so it's going to be a great night tonight, right? Everyone's going to have a great time. It's going to be good, guys. It's going to be good. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Is it possible Binance is trying to scoop up more before the bull cycle? No. That's not why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, it's possible they're trying to scoop more up, yes, but that's not the motivation behind what they're doing. I think they're engagement farming at the end of the day. They're trying to increase traffic flow to their websites and their exchange by getting people to go there to vote. I think that's what they're trying to do. It's all engagement farming, and they don't care that they're harming other people while they do it. Guys, as always, make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Helps the channel grow. It doesn't cost you anything. So, I mean, help us out, help the channel out for sure. That would be fantastic. And before I continue on real quick, guys, shout out to the channel sponsor, Decent Self-Custody Wallet. Guys, listen, we talked about this the other day. We had the Chrome exploit on the hot wallets, your Coinbase wallets, your MetaMask wallets, your Phantom wallets and stuff like that, right? Leaving your crypto in these hot wallets or exchanges, guys, is like leaving your wallet or your purse on a table at a restaurant while you get up and go to the bathroom and you're just hoping no one comes along and takes it. That's crazy. Why would you do that? Don't leave your crypto exposed. Get yourself a self-custody wallet where you can't be hacked. As we move closer and closer to the parabolic part of this bull run, the hacks and scams are going to get worse and worse and worse. So get yourself a decent self-custody wallet, guys. Use our link down below. Get a great, great deal. Jared, what's up, buddy? Just tell us what we want, what we need to know so we can help each other. Yes, exactly. Lions Den, what's up, buddy? Sweat is fat crying. Let's make these gains. Jim and these charts. Yes, I got chest day today actually lined up. It's gonna be a good one. Blah, if it gets delisted, what's the percentage drop we can see? No one knows the answer to that question, Blah. Nobody knows the future, right? Binance sucks a big one. Well put. Very, very well articulated. Bruno, what's up, buddy? Shane, what's up, man? Good to see you, brother. Jasmine's in the top 100 coins. They got to be kidding to delist it. There's no guarantee it's going to be delisted. Like I said, I'm hoping Binance sees the negative whiplash that they're seeing over on X, and they could very well change their minds and be like, you know what, we thought this was going to be a good idea, but it doesn't seem to be very well received. Maybe we should step away from this idea, right? Jake the Snake, what's up, man? I'm about ready to go touch grass and hibernate until the last dip before the dip. There you go. There you go. Jess, what's going on? So glad you're here to help us and give us the news, whether good or bad. Thank you. Hey, no problem, Jess. No problem. Binance is amongst the top holders of Jasmy. This is a joke that they want to delist it. See, that's a misunderstanding, guys. That's a misunderstanding. Now, listen, I have a post here, actually, to go with that. Now, this person here says, you know, people are, you know what, even if people vote to delist Jasmy, it isn't that easy. Binance is one of the biggest holders of Jasmy. Yes, guys, that's a misunderstanding. Binance is not one of the largest holders of Jasmy. The Binance wallet of Jasmy, like Binance does hold their own Jasmy, yes, but the big wallet for Jasmy that Binance holds, guys, that's not Binance's Jasmy, right? That's the accumulative Jasmy that all Binance customers have in their Binance accounts. It's all held in one account by Binance, right? So there could be 100,000 people on Binance holding Jasmy, but it only counts as one wallet because it's all in one wallet. People misunderstand that all the time. They think that all the Jasmy that Binance holds belongs to Jasmy, and it doesn't. It belongs divided up between all of the Jasmy holders on Binance, right? Ty, what's up, buddy? It's crazy because Binance owns most of the Jasmy, right? No, I just covered that. Thank you so much for your hard work, Leo. No problem, brother. No problemo. The committee's a damn snooze fest. Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a minute. Actually, give me a couple minutes. We're gonna jump in there for a little bit and see what's going on. Funky, we made all those gains without being listed last year, so this ain't the end of the world. Yeah, exactly. And listen, guys, this isn't like people are misunderstanding this as well. This is not a negative for Jasmy and Jasmy alone. This is a bad thing for all of altcoins. This isn't a Jasmy story by any means. This is not a Jasmy story. This is a altcoin story, right? Think about XRP holders right now. Do you know how many people hate XRP out there? Lots. They could vote to delist XRP from Binance, right? So I mean, it's not unique to Jasmy, this thing, right? So keep that in mind. I'm not worried about Jasmy. She will have her day. Absolutely, man. David, what's up, buddy? Where you been, brother? Rome was not built in a day. It took 500 years. There you go. Squirtle. We got Squirtle. What's up, crypto weirdos? When FUD is in the air, don't be swayed by despair. Hold your coins tight with patience and care. Don't give in to the nears. There you go. Bears. Exactly. Richie Rich. Clicking the like button pumps your portfolio. That's right, guys. Listen, if you're wondering why your portfolio is in the red or you're not pumping, you're not making money, it's because you're not hitting the like button. You're being weird about it, right? You're all like, no, I'm not giving him a like. I'm not going to click my mouse. I'm not going to do that because I hate this guy, right? Click the dislike then, right? Either way, it's all good. Rod, this is not about Jasmine, it's about crypto. Yes, exactly, Rod, exactly. Dadsky, Binance is playing with fire with us. Kind of funny to me how stupid people can be. Yeah, we should just, honestly, people should just stop using Binance at this point, right? Make them feel it in their wallet. It's just manipulation, and it'll be the day when exchanges have to put their customers. There will be a day. Yeah, exactly. Jetpack, what's up, buddy? Just another way for people to engage for free. just for them to rein in process, knowing it wouldn't work. Either way, they get free engagement. Exactly. Binance isn't a goal, just a plus. Don't let Binance dangle a carrot in front of your face. Personally, they can have it. They can shove it. Yes, exactly. Babes, my dude, what's up, buddy? This isn't the first time Binance has manipulated the markets. 2 years ago, Jasmine was put in the manipulation zone. Was manipulated. We should just call it the manipulation zone instead of the monitoring zone. It's the manipulation zone, right? Nicholas, what's up, big dog? Good to see you, brother. Is it true Trump family trying to partner with Binance? I know that they've been in talks with them. I don't know what it's about. I couldn't tell you. Imagine if, Jetpack, imagine that. That's a good call. Maybe people should do that. People should bind together and vote to delist BNB token. So see how Binance likes it when their own plan to harm people backfires on them, right? Problem is they wouldn't do it, right? They would just manipulate the numbers, because we have no way to know what the actual voting count is, right? So yeah, that would be hilarious though. If we all came together and voted to delist BNB token from Binance, they'd certainly think twice about what they're trying to do to other people, right? Wise Mind, what's up, man? First Crow, then Binance. What's next? BTC. Liquidity, what's up, man? Appreciate you all. Hope you're doing amazing. Absolutely. Hope this drags out for a bit longer. Been DCAing. Take advantage as always. Nice. Me too, man. Me too. Appreciate all your hard work, Rob. If I have to hold Jasmine till 2029, so be it. Yeah, Cryptis, what's going on? Thanks, Rob. Thanks for always keeping us in the know, good or bad. Grateful for the Patreon community. Absolutely. Absolutely. Batlander, you're right, Rob. Much immaturity in crypto. Yeah. I'm walking to the gym right now to do chest. Nice. Yeah, I got chest later today, man. I'm going to hit it. I'm going to hit it hard. No pecs, no sex. Let's go. I'm headed in for shoulders after your live stream. There you go. Little delt blast. So basically, the Binance issue will scare out the last weaklings for a massive shakeout. Yeah, maybe it's one way to look at it. Yeah. Prefer the dip, then sideways action at this point, but it seems touching grass and working for more dry powder. No one knows the future, but hopefully, yeah. That's what I'm doing. I'm just DCing, man. Weirdo Rob, no panic seller. Hell yeah. Hangman, what's up, buddy? Let's not forget the real parabolic bull run occurs after 1 year of the Bitcoin halving. Jasmine, big wicked down and now recovered. Bruno, is it possible to have a bunch of bots voting in Binance? I think it is. Probably. Wise Mind, what's up, man? I come to realize that in this market, we have to go to the tomb before we go to the moon. There you go, man. BK Sal, what's up? Sup, Rob? Hope all's well, buddy. Picked up another million Nadix after the DM the other day. Goal is now 5 mil. There you go. Can we expect a bull run to Jasmine? Yeah, we can. Jasmine Society, I appreciate you taking the time to join the spaces earlier. Hey, no problem, man. No problem. Try to support, try to support. The voting on Binance is only for projects with the monitoring tag. Well, there you go. Yeah, but I mean, they could put that tag on anything that they want, right? They could put it on anything that they want. Nothing like they don't have to give you a reason why they put a tag on something. They can. Here you go, XRP monitoring tag for XYZ reason, delisted. The problem is you're anticipating acting in good faith, which Binance does not do, right? So that's where the problem comes into play. Jasmine to the moon. True. All right, so let's jump in here to this SEC meeting. I just wanted to jump in a little bit and see. We're going to listen in just a little bit.
Is efficient for the market, but it's also how do you best protect investors. And I think that the two sort of key characteristics are, what are the specific risks? I'm going to break it down to three. What are the particular risks? Are those risks reflecting this sort of old 90-year-old regime in terms of the sort of meta concerns? And then are there things that are interesting about the technology that require adaptation to those risks? Questions like
of others if you're looking at it from a Howey perspective, right? There's a lot of things that can influence a price, but that doesn't necessarily mean, according to the courts, that it's the kind of efforts of others that would satisfy that particular prong of Howey. And there's case law, not a ton, but there's case law to that extent. And again, use consumption, you think about in the context of Howey itself, to twist the facts to what they weren't, but just to illustrate the point, if in Howey it had been the case, it was not the case, but if it had been the case that the individuals involved could have come into the groves, picked some oranges, eaten some of them, given some away, maybe set up an orange stand, maybe went to a farmer's market, that case very likely would have turned out differently, or at least there was the prospect that that case would have turned out differently. And I think there's really, you see that in United Housing versus Foreman in terms of use consumption as juxtaposed to investment. And then there's another layer to it, which is speculation the same as investment? I think some folks talked about that to suggest that speculation is not the same as investment, that there's a lot of things people speculate on, hoping that it becomes more valuable, that folks wouldn't think of as being a security. So if you take those points, which I think hover around a lot of the discussions over the years as to what is or is not a security, in particular, the use consumption, United Housing versus Foreman, and if market forces are the thing that are determining the price as compared to meaningful efforts or managerial and entrepreneurial efforts of others. Anybody want to offer a perspective or two? Miles?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that the SEC actually got this right back in 2017 and 2018 when they basically said that the presence of utility is not enough to exclude an asset from the securities laws regimes. I think everyone would agree here that if Amazon started accepting Amazon stock to pay for AWS services, we wouldn't exempt Amazon stock from securities laws. And I don't think that we should do the same with digital assets. It's undeniable that there are people that are investing in digital assets. It's undeniable that some of those have use cases. But trying to grade the line between where there's more consumptive intent than investment intent, I think is even more impossible than defining sufficient decentralization. So as a result of that, I think that's kind of a bridge to nowhere. I think it's easier to focus on the efforts of others and where the value is being derived from a given asset. Again, going back to my example earlier, with Ethereum, there is a financial interest in the operation of the network. That network functions without human intervention and control. It's fully autonomous and permissionless. No company going away could harm the economic value of that asset. Compare that to a share of Apple stock or FTT, right, where the clear economic value was derived from the profits of an enterprise that were then being deployed back into that asset. And so I think, again, the efforts of others, I think has been in the 2019 framework that the SEC put out was used as a very expansive way, 40 different factors of very subjective nature, which has been very difficult to enforce. And I think that if we can constrain it to a more objective perspective, one that's focused on control, it's a lot easier to define what decentralization is and what may de-risk an asset and therefore justify not applying securities laws.
Good, thanks, Miles. Sarah?
Just as a small point, right? I think there's two extremes here of one, your asset got infected by a securities transaction and is a security forever. And on the other end, there's sort of people arguing for more of a four corners test is based on the intrinsic characteristics of this asset. We wouldn't consider it a security, but the thing about tokens is they aren't oranges. Like while the issuer or the initial development group retains control over all aspects of the network, the dApp, the token, they can inherently change the functionality of the token. The token is whatever they want it to be today or tomorrow. And so that won't give us certainty. And so that's why I do agree with Miles that there's this inflection point where they no longer can control those characteristics, and then it is de-risked.
Chris?
Yeah, I just like to. I'm pretty, I guess, sympathetic to a kind of control standard. I mean, insofar as it's not foreign to securities law in any way, right? I mean, when you think about, definitions of what constitutes a distribution, or when you think about minority shareholders and their rights towards others, that's a certainly cleaner than utility. And yes, so the Supreme Court on various occasions has tried to sort of draw that line between the two. Maybe since we were asked to give each other questions, you have any suggestions in terms of how you would actually implement this? Is there like a percentage number that you have in mind in terms of control of network or
Well, I think it's very important when we talk about control, right, that we're not talking about just the disbursement of control. So while I think that there is some importance in looking at thresholds, right, I don't think if you were to just solely say, hey, look, if everyone owns 1% of this network, then it's not controlled and therefore we don't apply securities laws. I don't believe that that's correct. I believe that partnership interests can be securities. Partnerships can be very decentralized, right? But the difference between an ordinary partnership that might be decentralized and a blockchain network, right, is that you can eliminate mechanisms of control, right? You can make it impossible for anyone to actually change the system and thereby influence control. And where you have that, right, you eliminate the ability of anyone to unilaterally affect or structure the risk of the underlying asset, right, and affect the probabilistic outcomes associated with that asset. And as a result of that, so if you look at things like autonomy, permissionlessness, right, all of these things that transform blockchain networks from being proprietary software like Apple's App Store into things that function more like public infrastructure that no one controls, I think that's really the core criteria. So I think, voting rights, voting power is part of that, but I think it's only one part.
So just to clarify, Mo, so control means that you could modify the code, and if no one can modify the code, there's no control?
I think the mechanism for modifying the control is certainly a worthy kind of criteria. But for instance, there are systems where no person can modify the code whatsoever. Uniswap is a smart contract protocol that has smart contracts deployed, which is programmable, executable software deployed to a blockchain, right, that are completely immutable. No one can change how they function. As a result, no one can change the economic value of those smart contracts or the economic value of the token that relates to those smart contracts.
But
So-
what if an entity can just release an updated version of the protocol that's not the same as the previous protocol, but that's where people migrate to?
Well, so what the critical criteria there is, you're absolutely right. Someone could deploy Uniswap version 20 tomorrow, right? But where do the network effects of the system accrue, right? And that's what the key economic kind of decision or analysis relates to. Network effects in a system like Uniswap and a system like Ethereum accrue to the network. Therefore, they accrue to the token holders. If someone tomorrow was to say, hey, we're going to deploy a new version of Uniswap, that version of Uniswap would have no liquidity in it. Therefore, it would be completely valueless. The only way it would ever have value is if people moved liquidity from prior versions of the protocol to that version of the protocol. As a result, right, that clearly demonstrates that the network effects of that system accrue to the protocol and not the company that deployed it. And that is a very key distinction for the overall risk profile of the underlying asset.
But Miles, in fairness, I'm sorry,
Lewis, we just pause for one sec. I want to try to get some of the, and Lewis, you're shortly in the queue, so you can kind of refresh on that. So we got about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna ask everybody to be quick in terms of their responses, and then we'll have the break, and then we'll have after the break, and we'll figure out to make sure everybody has a chance to get their thoughts in, and then we'll go to the questions that have been submitted. So let me, if Lewis, you can just hold off for one sec, and Teresa, let me go to you, and then to John, and then to Collins. We can be quick, and then we'll see where we are from there in terms of timing.
Thanks. So a couple of things I just think are really important to think about is Howey was never intended to regulate an entire industry nor technology. If you look at what it was originally, it was more kind of these one-off situations. And after we saw what was happening in these new assets, and the 21A report, indicated that, and how the commission was approaching it. From there, once you see that this is an entire burgeoning industry, Howie is not the appropriate test, in my view. And I think that that's when you have to start thinking about what is this, and just like we have historically throughout our entire through the United States just being in existence, how we've handled these things, it would be, start thinking about how to apply, what should apply, think more about what these assets are. And then I question the responsibility, how responsible it would be to just let this play out in the courts, this test that's very movable, no limits. It's had problems before the digital assets industry, and it's going to have problems afterwards too. And I think we can also look to, there are other aspects of the securities definition that are triggered by digital assets. Yes, it's most often investment contracts, but absolutely 100%, no way does that cover all of them. There are other types that are not an investment contract. And I think that's important when you're trying to figure out how you're going to analyze these. And I also think it's important with people talking about the tripart mission, the tripart mission is very important, all three equally important, and that all of those were supposed to be done while mitigating or minimizing intrusion to legitimate and honest business. And if you look through, particularly from the Thompson bill, and I'll wrap up, the Thompson bill, which was rejected because it was too onerous, and you look at how that evolved into the 33 and 34 Act and Roosevelt's statements, all of this, so much focus was on the fact that it has to be minimizing that effect on honest business. And I don't want us to forget that, because we have forgotten it for a while. And there are other instances we can look at, and particularly with people thinking that Howie applies to everything like this, is in the 50s, in 1958, there was a trading stamps release. And those trading stamps, the little gummy stamps, and you put them in your book, and everybody would get these stamps, and they were worth like nothing, maybe a penny of that, And there was a 168, I think, $1 billion market for these things, and there was secondary trading and all sorts of things with these little gummy stamps, and the issuers give them to the distributors, and then there were the merchants. There was this whole infrastructure, and the SEC opined that those were not evidence of indebtedness. They did not even consider Howie. 12 years after Howie, they didn't even think about it, and they rationed, if we were to regulate this as a security, well, then railroad tokens, all these other things would fall in. And clearly, the securities laws are not supposed to handle all of these commercial transactions. And so if an entire industry and technology of trading stamps evolved, we would have to come up with this whole new thing of how do we handle trading stamps. It wouldn't just be looking at it as a Howie test for every single time and letting the courts try and figure it out, coming up with different answers each time. And then there's absolutely no clarity, no fairness. And if you are going to hold somebody accountable, and I think of, you're wearing a white suit and you get sued by the SEC, now you have a black mark, you can never get it off. And if you're going to hold somebody to that, and they're going to have to live their life that way, these are people, and companies are full of people. All of this, let's not forget, we're all people, even though we're talking about technology. And if you are going to hold that person responsible, and then 2 months later say, oh, never mind, it's not a violation for anybody else, where's the fairness in that? Thanks.
John.
Thanks. I'll be quick. There's an elephant in the room to me. There's been the wholesale demolition of the crypto enforcement program, right? It looks like they've closed all the investigations. It looks like they're closing or about to close all the litigation, all the appeals. They've shuttered the crypto unit, given it a new name. They've shipped the head of litigation who did all of crypto to OIT. So is this pivot worth it? I get it. There's definitely a mandate. I believe that the president had a mandate with respect to crypto and wants to be the crypto president. And so I don't necessarily think that any of these steps are something that there isn't a mandate for. But I've taught securities regulation for 20 years, 15 years Georgetown law, almost 5 years at Duke. It's a total gray area, securities laws. If your idea is, hey, we want to make these laws clear, it's just not going to happen in any area. Yeah, I mean, but I appreciate the nobility of the goal. When I was chief of the Office of Internet Enforcement, before that, when I was special counsel for internet projects, I was an internet evangelist. I set up the first computer that the Division of Enforcement had with an internet access and taught people how to use it. I met with e-brokerage firms almost monthly, just like we're doing today, to find out what we were doing right, what we were doing wrong, and really try to work out things that to make this disintermediation, that's what everyone talked about at the time, to make all that possible. It was exciting. But there were people out there selling Reg A offerings or Reg D offerings on internet trading facilities and advising people to buy them. And it was like a driver's ed. Remember those driver's ed films when you were in school where they showed you every conceivable violation? That's what these were. So we sat around and we figured out how to get rid of those. I just don't see it as far as this innovation, whether it's a gummy stamp or equivalent to an American Girl doll or a Pokemon card or whatever. Is this pivot? Is this dramatic, unprecedented, right? Let's all agree the SEC has never done anything like that like this in its history with respect to such a successful enforcement program. Is that worth it for this this technology that ask yourselves, is it something that I really care about? And is this pivot worth it?
All right, so I'm gonna keep us on time. I got a couple of minutes left, so here's what I'm gonna propose. Collins was next. I think that's gonna get us to time for the first chunk. What I have in the queue is Lewis, Ben, Sarah, and I think Miles. There may be someone on the panel at the break who tells me to get them in the queue as well, and I'll do that. I know that there's the effort, and we will take questions that have been submitted. We'll make sure that we are able to manage all of that, so we give that due time, and also make sure that you all have the occasion. So that's my list. If I missed you, tell me at the break that I missed you if you want me to add. But with that, to keep us on time, we'll wrap up with Collins, and then we'll take the break, and then we'll come back.
Sure, thanks. I think just two final points to respond to. So first, I think that this notion that it's impossible to come up with any type of guidance or framework is it's kind of weak. I mean, I guess I'm in Washington, so I can say this in an inspired sense, but like we are America, like we put people on the moon and stuff. We can figure out how to write words to give people more clarity on paper. And I think there's two quick examples of this that came out of this kind of meeting that are almost obvious. So for instance, I think Lee, as you spoke about kind of your point, one of the things that you kind of inherently did was start positing a vertical commonality test as part of your Howey analysis. I think you said something like, all of these tokens intrinsically link the fortunes of all of the token holders. That alone kind of indicates a lack of clarity that the SEC could start working on today. Right now, the SEC has argued both for horizontal commonality being required, pooling assets and bringing funds, and then vertical commonality, where it only requires that you have some type of intrinsically linked fortunes with the issuer. That becomes problematic if you're an issuer trying to figure out if you're already within that regime. One clear example, I think, to finally answer one of your questions, I don't know if any of us did, is what could the SEC do today? I think one of the first things is just start giving guidance as to where their views are, as to what their views are on the prongs of Howey. So to your point, is an investment of money satisfied when somebody receives an airdrop, but it's expected that they've created a market for that token? For horizontal commonality or common enterprise, is the SEC's view that it can be either horizontal or vertical, or is it both? That type of guidance alone doesn't require that they come to a decision on what these assets are, but it does give us more predictability as to what we should expect when we're going through these analyses and not going through 50, 60 questions and that type of guidance. So I think that type of clarity, as well as guidance on what type of information is required for a system to potentially meet the type of standard that Miles might be promulgating. And I think that goes to my last point, which is those standards that we look at, and I think somebody else mentioned the original purpose of securities laws. I went back and looked at the 33 Act's first congressional hearing notes, and there was a Senator Sam Rayburn. One of the first things he says is, the goal of this act was to place on parity with management of corporations, the buyers of securities, and then the buyers with the sellers on the same plane as those sellers. And I think what Miles's point goes to is that when you have certain characteristics in a protocol or an application or something else, I think it inherently places on parity the purchasers of that token with the purchase of management. And so to the example that he gave, with Uniswap, your Uni token can't even affect the operation of this protocol. I think there are probably even easier examples to look at where you can say, look, we're looking at this, and at some point when they've lost these elements of control, management has just as much control. They're on the same level of parity as the same buyer. And that's why I think that some type of measure of control is probably the appropriate kind of measure within the context of our historical securities laws. So yeah, I think we might have a minute for Lewis, but enough Lewis.
All right, so we'll give 1 minute. So Teresa has a question for Colin, so we'll do that, wrap up in a minute, and then we'll have a break.
What are the characteristics that you're talking about that would implicate the securities laws?
Yeah, so I think, and actually, again, not to piggyback too much off Miles' paper, but they did a pretty good job of outlining, I think, 3 standards, if I can recall correctly. One was economic independence, and that economic independence is basically what I think he was speaking to towards the end. The other was, as you mentioned, with governance control.
Sorry, I don't get that. What do you mean by economic independence?
That's totally fine. So economic independence, I think, in the example that we were just talking about, is do the benefits and the economic benefits in particular inure to the benefit of the holders by virtue of somebody exerting continuous efforts, and that essentially becomes the essential managerial ones, or does it inure to the benefit of those people by virtue of the operation of the protocol, independent of the actions of that initial issuer? And so, for instance, when you look at a Uniswap, it doesn't matter what Hayden decides to do when he wakes up today. Like Uniswap's value is going to continue to accrue to the liquidity providers that provide liquidity onto the protocol by virtue of the fact that the rules automatically and consistently will always execute in that fashion. But to his point, if somebody launches Uni V2, perhaps they add some type of control mechanism into it. Suddenly, you don't necessarily have that economic independence. It may actually be the case that you're actually dependent on that issuer or that developer to continue doing something or refrain from doing something in order for you to be able to capture that value. And I think that's a good example of where economic independence becomes really critical. The other 2 elements, I know we're over time, I'd probably look at his paper or some of the other folks' papers up here. I think Sarah's done a great job at this, Miles has, and a lot of other people have written about that. But those 3 elements, economic independence, governance, and forgive me, Miles, forget the last one, are probably 3
operational control.
Yeah, operational control. Thank you.
All right, great. So we are now, in fact, going to take a break. Want instructions?
Enforcement looking jackets. They are friendlies. They are no one to be afraid of.
So they're gone for break for a while, guys. But yeah, interesting stuff. I'm probably going to continue to pay attention to it later today. We'll see what happens. Let's see, we got some stuff. Bruno, thank you so much, man, for being the only one to send a super chat. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. Rob, we appreciate all you do for us, even when you don't feel well. You're still here uploading videos. Hopefully you feel better. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hey, Rob, got any info on Antics? Good to see you're feeling better. I don't know what Antics is, Ken. I said, so much to know where it came from. Nice. No, I haven't watched it yet. I will today, though. 3K Sports, what's up, man? Good to see you. We definitely need to get out of Binance. Yeah, we need to boycott Binance. We need XCN to go to Binance. Yeah, that would be nice, but they'll just delist it on us, right? Just load it up on Jasmine. There you go, brother. There you go. Matt says, hit the like button, folks. Absolutely. Studio Tech in the house. Dennis, what's going on, my guy? Good to see you. All right, guys, listen, we've been going for about an hour. Oh, what do we got? Top 5s in the house as well. I know YouTube has been terrible for sending notifications that we're live. It's frustrating for sure because I see people showing up just as we're finishing up our live stream. And yeah, it's very, very irritating. So anyway, guys, as always, like I said, I got to go do some one-on-one coaching calls over on the Patreon. If you want yours, guys, get your spot booked in, get over to the Patreon, book your one-on-one coaching call with me personally. Absolutely check that out. Oh, we got some more. Enjoy your day. Hey, Rob, happy Friday. What's your projected price, the end of the cycle for Jasmine? With man, like, we literally, like, I have not had time to process something like that, to be honest with you, brother. Aaron, what's going on, buddy? Hopefully Aaron trying to remove Jasmine from the innovation zone. Late because was in the gym. Well, hey, at least you had a good reason. Brother. I respect that. I got to go do some chest today for sure, man. That's my favorite day. Chest is my favorite day, obviously. Well, I don't know, chest or arms, either way, it's all good. But yeah, guys, get over to the Patreon. I will be dropping another gem video over there this afternoon as well. You do not want to miss that. Discord does a good job of letting me know when you're on YouTube. Yeah, the problem with Discord, though, is that there's too many people over there impersonating me. There's too many scammers. I can't stand it, right? Just getting in. How's everybody doing? We're doing good, Amazing Coins. Doing good, man. Quick hello from Metal Detecting England in the house. Nice, nice, nice. All right, guys. Yes. All right, I got some one-on-ones I got to do. Get over there, book your one-on-one coaching calls. We're live on the Patreon every single evening, guys. Check it out for yourselves. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Also, get yourself a decent self-custody wallet. Our link is down below, guys, for a fantastic deal. Don't leave your crypto exposed. Put it in your own custody where you know that it's safe. Yeah. Can we at least? Anyway. All right, guys. I will see you guys later this evening. Talk to you later.